Google might be pretty good at searching, they do some other things fairly well, but there is one thing they really excel at. They are the best at killing products. And in today's update, we really need to talk about ChromeOS because it looks like this is going to be the next addition in the infamous Google graveyard. The official line is that ChromeOS will be merged into Android to create a single unified platform. But if you read between the lines, the message is clear. ChromeOS as an independent operating system is being phased out. Android will become the foundation across phones, tablets, laptops, and whatever experimental hardware they decide to ship next. The features that defined ChromeOS like windowed multitasking, Linux support, proper desktop mode or browser extensions will all be rebuilt on top of Android. This means ChromeOS will slowly dissolve into a compatibility layer. This shouldn't come as a shock if you've been paying attention. Google started replacing the ChromeOS Linux kernel with the Android one back in 2024. Android 16 added desktop mode, better window management, and improved support for larger screens. At this point, the two systems were already halfway merged, but now it's becoming official. These days, companies are cutting costs across the board, so Google doesn't want to maintain two platforms since it is more expensive, it's inefficient, and it slows down product development. It also makes sense from a business perspective. Apple has shown how powerful a unified ecosystem can be, with iPadOS and macOS being separate but tightly integrated. Google's been trying to catch up for years, and with this move, they're finally admitting that Android is the only platform that matters long-term. And the long-term game is, you've guessed it, AI.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Gemini is Google's big bet, and having one OS across all devices makes it easier to embed an annoying, pushy assistant into every aspect of our lives. But there is one big elephant in the room. What happens to existing Chromebooks? Right now, Google says older models will still get security patches, but don't expect major updates or new features unless you've got very recent hardware. And even then, the transition timeline is fuzzy. Developer previews of the unified OS are expected late 2025, and consumer devices like a Pixel laptop or tablet might land sometime in 2026. Until then, Chromebook users are stuck in limbo. There's also a fragmentation problem. ChromeOS had a solid, centralized update pipeline, but Android does not. If Google wants this merger to work, they'll have to avoid the mess of delayed updates and inconsistent device support that's plagued Android for over a decade. But probably the biggest challenge is on the UI front. Making Android work well on a laptop is not as simple as adding a dock and letting you resize windows. It needs a real desktop experience that feels intentional, not like a blown-up phone interface. So what we're seeing here is another classic Google maneuver. Kill the standalone product, promise something better, and hope people don't notice the gap in the middle. Android as a laptop OS has potential, especially with modern ARM hardware and better multitasking, but execution matters. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, thank you for watching.